Hello everyone, I wanted to make a video for all of you called Dealing with OCD When You Are Sick. Now, I have been getting much more sick since I moved to a colder climate over the last, say, 4 years. And it's obvious when you are suffering with OCD and your immune system is down, and we don't have to go any further than that, and we don't even know if that's an absolute certainty, but more than likely, because you have so much anxiety and your nerves are so stressed all the time and your belief systems, you're more than likely susceptible to being sick. I'd have to imagine. That's as far as we really need to go on that. So, usually around this time of year, around October, November, is when I first start to get either like my first bout of either sinusitis, which I have right now, which I never had sinusitis before. Like last night, I literally could not breathe out of my nose at all. I think I tried to sleep. I went to bed, which I never do, at like 7, and I tossed and turned until 5 in the morning when I went to the gym. But I want to talk about the mistakes that people make when they're sick, when they're physically sick. Also, how OCD can mimic being sick. I see this a lot. People can't believe the physical manifestations from like a health OCD or fear perspective that people go through. I had an individual I was working with who had really bad contamination OCD, and they were doing some really hard exposures, and they got some mouth sores and stuff like that, and they couldn't believe the possibility that OCD could do something like that to them, which it can. It can mimic these sicknesses very, very well, and you have to wear all that, and you have to break all that down as you're going throughout that. So before I go any further, please subscribe, hit that like button down below. If I cough a few times or I seem like I'm struggling, it's because my entire face is just completely blocked with mucus right now. Again, these are all new type things. This has probably happened 3 or 4 times since I've moved to Colorado since 2020. And I was thinking about, making a video on this because I think it's a place where people really, really struggle. They get sick and then they're already so anxious, so much shame and guilt, don't know what to do. So, okay. This is gonna be a fun one. So the first thing to cover is what we tend to do when we get sick and we're struggling with OCD. So the first thing that people tend to do is take a huge step back in their life structure. Now, this is not inherently a bad thing, as you do want to take care of yourself when you're struggling with OCD and other stuff. So it does make sense that you want to kind of take your foot off the gas a little bit. Maybe take some time off from the gym, whatever it may be, or decrease your intensity at the gym. Maybe you do need to stay home for a day or so, and all that's good and fun. And this will determine, this will completely be dictated and predicated off how sick you really are. But like someone like myself right now, who just has this pretty bad head cold and sinusitis, and they're not sleeping too well, I really don't take any time off. I might go to bed a little bit earlier. I might lounge around the house a little bit more than I normally do and skip a big hike. But in the grand scheme of things, I'm still going out, doing I have numerous one-to-ones today. I think I have 7 one-to-ones, making content, and just, doing my normal stuff. I went to the gym this morning. I felt pretty good at the gym. I took some Mucinex and a head cold, and I continue on with my day. Now, this is something that has definitely changed since COVID, because what COVID has done for me, and I had a really bad, remember, I was in the hospital with COVID. My pulse ox was down in the 70s and high 60s. I was on oxygen for about a day there, 3 days home, 4 days. I was on oxygen. I wasn't on the incubator, but it was bad. They almost wanted to send me to the major medical center, and I'm like, definitely not doing that. So yeah. And then I got COVID really bad again, like a year later. I also have psoriasis, so I have an autoimmune condition, which is pretty common among OCD sufferers, having other comorbidities, whether it's Crohn's or celiac. This goes to show you why there's more than likely something genetic going on. And I try to continue on with my day as best as I can. But I also give myself that flexibility to take more time for myself if I'm really feeling it, which I don't usually live my life that way anyway. I tend to realize for myself I'll push through when I'm sick, which might not be the best option. And I might be sick for a little bit longer than the average person. Maybe if I have a head cold, for Erica, she gave it to me because she was sick. Hey, bud. She was sick for about, probably about 3-4 days before I got sick. And then she's like, you're definitely going to get sick. Because we're, cuddling, kissing. We just got back from vacation. And she was sick when we got there. And I wasn't sick. And I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely getting sick. And then I did get sick. And I usually get it worse from here. Typically. Not always, but usually. But I continue on with my day. So the things you got to make sure you're keeping an eye on is, number one, you really want to be aware of how much you're Googling. You don't want to be Googling. You don't want to be doing a lot of researching. You don't want to be going crazy on the route of looking up symptoms, because this is something that many, many people do and many people fall into. Nothing wrong with going to the doctors. Going to the doctors one time or so is completely fine. If you're going to the doctors multiple times, it's probably not a good thing, especially since symptoms and looking up symptoms is something that many people will do over and over and over again. So they'll continue to look up symptoms online, which is a horrible thing. Whether you have OCD or health anxiety, or whether you struggle with, and there's really no such thing as a separate diagnosis of being a hypochondriac. Like people think they're like, oh, this person's a hypochondriac. There's really no such thing as a hypochondriac. It's just an individual who's afraid of something with health. So we use these terms. It's like there's no such thing as codependency. All codependency is the fear of being alone or rejection. So there's really these terms that we use. There's no such thing as body dysmorphia. There's no such thing as any of this stuff. It's just fear of something. We just use these titles to simplify the terminology. So making sure you're not Googling, making sure you're not researching, that's a big one. Realizing there's no line in the sand. You can go on Mayo Clinic, you can go on the Cleveland Clinic, you can go to the NHS or all these other places around the world, and you can look at what are the perfect or proper guidelines for taking care of yourself when you're sick. It's all complete craziness. I mean, and always listen to if you're really sick, and you listen to your primary care provider, because they are doing their best to, keep you safe and make you feel better from a physical standpoint. But you watch videos of people who worked out twice a day, which, I wouldn't recommend this, but I could see why they did this. They worked out twice a day, and they did all this stuff when they had COVID, because they're like, I'm just going to fight this off with the way how I want to do it. And the thing is, then people are afraid of rejection. So the thing is nowadays, because everyone's so afraid of being shamed and guilt, no one can shame or guilt you. That's not a possibility, right? When you have a belief system that's sound through unconditional acceptance. So let's say you have a call, I was on the airplane the way back, and I was coughing, and Erica was like, she's like, I tried to hold my cough in the whole way to Texas, which is an hour and 40-minute plane ride. And she's like, I just felt bad. Understandable, but I'm not going to do that. If I'm going to cough, I'm going to cough. And because I'm not afraid of being rejected because I have a cough. Like this world that we live in, this post-COVID world of everyone being afraid to cough or sneeze, all is based off rejection. It's the only thing that drives this particular fear pattern. So once you're no longer afraid of being rejected by other people in that regard. And remember, acceptance doesn't mean agreement. It's not about not caring. Because people are like, oh, you just don't care what people think about you. That's not true. I do care what people think about me. I care about my reputation. I just don't care about it in a conditional way. The difference is everyone on earth cares in a conditional way. So they're very much along the lines of like, oh my God, if this person rejects me, I can't stand it. This is the worst thing ever. I must never be rejected, et cetera, et cetera. But that's what's keeping you stuck, unfortunately. So, again, looking for no line in the sand, making sure you're not Googling and researching. If you work from home, it's probably a good thing you keep up with work, the majority. Maybe you have to decrease your work output to 50%. If you have to take some naps during the day, we get it. Making sure you're not taking, hours and hours and hours of naps for days on end. Okay, like a rough guideline. Making sure you're trying to eat. It's one thing that happens to me last night. I just had a wrap from the gas station, which is just not something I do a lot, but I still tried to get something in because I was like, oh God, I just don't want to eat right now. And I just felt no appetite whatsoever, but I try to keep that routine of doing that. And I went to the gym this morning and I just took it a little bit easy, especially because I had legs. So, but that's one of the things I try to do. But again, you go to the doctor's going to do what they're trained to do, which is give you reassurance. That's what doctors do. They're not looking at it from our angle. They're not looking at it from like, oh, maybe this person has a poor psychological perspective on this. So let me make sure that this doesn't happen. That's not what it is. They're trying to come from that angle of, hey, look, this person's really scared right now. Let me reassure them that everything's going to be okay. By the way, people reassure me in my life all the time. I just don't accept that reassurance in my mind. I don't tell them that they're wrong. It's another big mistake. So like if people were like, I was like, oh man, I'm feeling really shitty today to my wife. She's like, oh, everything's going to be okay. She's not doing that because she's trying to be malicious and keep me stuck in some new OCD cycle. I just go, yeah, of course. Even though I don't really take on board what she says because I know she's not looking at it from the angle that we're looking at it at. There is no such thing as knowing a direct outcome. The only thing that we know is that we die. But we still could obviously, like I always say, that's up to interpretation because we could already be dead. This could be a simulation. And since there's no memory, hey, buddy, what are you doing? Oh, hey, buddy. Hey, guys. Hello. These dogs are always like, why are you walking past me making this video? What are you doing walking past me? So, you know, it's just, that's how I go about, you know, being sick. And I try to slow things down a little bit to give myself a little bit better opportunity, but I don't hide from the world. I don't believe in that. And I don't believe in like, oh, you're sick, you should stay inside for 4 or 5 days. I get it. You know, you test positive for COVID or something like that, and you want to follow the CDC guidelines. That's great. But, you know, I haven't taken the test for this. I don't think I have COVID. Again, I've had it, again, 3 times. 2 I was tested for, one I was just, seems exactly like the other 2 times, so I probably had it. And like I said, I live in a colder climate now. I came from Florida, where I live, where it's like, you know, 35 degrees Celsius all year round and 90 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit most of the year. So I just didn't really get sick as much as I did. So those are just things to think about. Just a lot of key points in this. Make sure you're not Googling and researching. Making sure you're not going crazy with all the supplements and all the other counter stuff. Making sure you're keeping up with your routines if you can. If you're really, really sick, we get it. You know what I mean? But, you know, I'll give you an example. Like, let's say I broke my arm after I got out of the initial hospital and did all that stuff. And the initial couple of days, I would go right back to work. I would go back to work full time, even with a broken leg or a broken arm. I think that stuff is really important. There's not really many things, you know, I'll leave you with this. I mean, this is a good thing. I mean, for me at least, I see it as a good way. And again, I might not be the best at being able to, you know, slow down in certain perspectives, but I've accepted that aspect of myself, so it doesn't really cause any anxiety or anything like that. It doesn't cause any anxiety. As you know, we were coming back from the airport in Texas, and that medical staff I was with, they said like, you know, like, well, do you work on Saturdays and Sundays? Erica's like, I do sometimes, but Nick's quite bad at that. They're like, he works basically every day. And they're like, that's so bad for you. I'm like, yeah, not really. It's not really that bad for you. It's just you've been convinced. You know, one of my favorite things that Rob says, and again, this does tie into being sick, low frustration tolerance based around burnout and afraid of overdoing it kills more dreams and more ability to achieve greatness in your own personal life than anything else on this planet. I do believe that. You know, I see it with, I mean, I work in a very specific field. I work with OCD sufferers. I work in seeing mindsets and perspectives and belief systems all day, every day, whether it's with content, whether it's with me making things. So I could totally see why people do this. So again, look for that link down below to direct message Phil. We get you in right away. Please email us at phil@ocdrecovery.com, and we'll get back to you in a timely fashion. And just remember, just balancing it. You know, this is just what I do. You can take time for yourself. But if you go too overboard with it, or you go the other way, which I've done, you don't slow down at all, that's not good either. I've hiked big-ass mountains and I was really sick, and that wasn't a really good thing for me. So then we go from there. Always a pleasure, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day.